Alrighty, hey everyone, welcome back. So today's Tuesday, second day in September, and while Bitcoin started out kind of in a bad mood today, it was down in the red. They eventually started pumping back up in the green here, which was nice because the miners were doing the same thing. They were up, they were down, but they finished up in the green here. Iren and Cipher had a fantastic day. Both were above 8%, I believe, on the day. So that was a great finish for those guys here in continuation of what they had last week as well. So we'll look at what happened with Bitcoin miners as well. We'll take a look at also what happened with the miners' break-even points or figures right now, as far as we can tell. So those are estimated right now. I'll dive into all the details on that. We also have a Cango update as well for the production update for August. So they're the first ones out of the gate to provide that for us. It's actually a pretty good update from them. We'll look at some good news stories on Bitcoin as well, and that should be it here. So we'll get through all this as always. Right? Not financial advice. For only do your own research. Oh, and I forgot. I also sold Mara today, and I sold Rivian today as well. And I bought some more Cipher. I bought 400 shares of Cipher today at $8.01 there after I had a little pullback. So I was happy to do that. Yeah, we can discuss more if you guys want. Why I sold it, why not. We can do that in the Q&A if you want. Other than that, full disclosure below that as always. So I need to correct this page here. I'll do that tomorrow. And yeah, if you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe. It helps me out tremendously. Okay, let's get into it here. It's going too long on this page here as it is. All right, so Bitcoin had a nice day today. It started out kind of weak in the morning, kind of when U.S. trading started and things were going down on Bitcoin price here. But we ended up being up 1.84%. We closed at 111,247.94 cents. Pretty good day, right? The only thing is we're battling with the, it looks like 100 SMA here, which is the red and the blue line here that you can see here. We're battling with it. We came up close to that today, and we got kind of rejected from there. We're trying that again on the new day here for Wednesday. We got to that pretty close. You can maybe see that on the chart here. Let me see if I can zoom this in for you guys here a little better maybe. You can see it right there, right? We went right up to that line here. Got rejected a little bit here. So we're just a little bit under that right now as it is. That line right now is at about 111,730, something like that. We'll see if we can break above this maybe tomorrow. That'd be nice, I think, if that happens here. But other than that, September's starting out pretty good here. It's not that bad, actually. It's starting out better than what August did. So maybe we will have a better September than we did in August. We'll see. Markets, for the most part, were down today. Ethereum was, let's see here, up a little bit as well today. It was up only 0.27%. So are we having maybe a little rotation happening from Ethereum to Bitcoin? Maybe. All right, time will tell on that one. Looking at some of the miners here, Bitfarms was flat on the day at 0%, basically. BitDeer was down just a little bit, 0.35%, after having a wild day here on that one. Cango was down 2.1%. They just never recovered in the morning here. Cipher was up nicely, 8.9% here. It got up to $8.78. I think that is the highest. Is that the new all-time high for this thing? No, 15 was the highest. So we're getting there slowly, but we're getting there for sure. Cleanspark was up a little bit as well, 1.8% on that one. CORZ was down 2.44%. Hive was flat on the day. Hut 8 was up 2.51%. Iren was up 9.93% on the day. It got to a new all-time high here as well, $29.85. Came back down and got down to about $27, something like that, even 26, I think, at one point, before going back up. Going back up towards the end of the day here, so that was a really good day. Mara was down, up 0.5% here. Riot was up just a little bit as well, 2.4%, and Wolf was up a little bit as well, 1.9%. Overall, the miners did actually, for the most part, did pretty good here, considering Bitcoin is up, 1 point something percent here. These guys at least outperformed Bitcoin here, or at least got close to it, as best I can explain it. Now, MicroStrategy was up a little bit as well. MicroStrategy did buy some more Bitcoin there. We'll talk about that. That's part of the good news stories that we have on Bitcoin. Galaxy was up 3.25%. Who else here? We have Block here was down 4.28. Coin was down 0.32. MetaPlanet was down 2.46. Exodus was down 1.7. And this is the Nexon. Nexon was up a little bit, 0.74. Similar was down 0.91. Phoenix was down 0.97. GameStop was up 4.46% on that one. Small miners were down for the most part, except for DigiPower there was up 7.73%. That one bounced off the 100 simple day moving average here, so it looks like it's holding that for now at least. The minor ETFs here, BitQ was up 1.66%, BKCH was up a little bit, 0.74%, DAP was up 0.5%, and WGMI is kicking butt right now. It is up 3.33% here on the day today. That one is doing really good for me in my retirement account. I am up over 300, almost close to 400% on that one from when I got into it back in the beginning of January of 2023. So that one's doing really good for me here. Ethereum holding companies here were down. BMNR down 2.59% here. BitDigital was up a little bit, 1.56%. BTCS was down 2.39. Game was down 2.65, and SBET was down 4.71. The Ethereum holding companies or treasury companies are not doing that great, right? And we'll see how they do going forward here. I'm not a big fan of those, but I do like the fact that they are buying it, just like the Bitcoin miners or Bitcoin holding companies also are buying Bitcoin. I like the fact that they're doing that here. Bitcoin dominance here was down a little bit on the day. We were up a little bit on Monday on it. We were up 0.93%. We were down just a little bit here today, 0.11%, and we're down on a new day as well on it right now. Miners in the after hours here really quick. If we look at that here, BitDeer is up a little bit, 0.77% here. We got Bitfarms being up 0.76%, Cango being down 0.64%, Cipher being up 0.24%, Cleanspark being up 0.73%, CORZ Scientific being flat, Hive Digital being up just a little bit, 0.31%, Hut 8 being flat right now, Iren up another 1.03%, Mara 0.37% up, Riot 0.21%, and TerraWolf up 0.83% in the pre-market hours as it is. Going down here, Bitcoin right now for the month of September is up 2.48%, which is looking pretty good. It's a better start than we had in August. Maybe we'll, like I said, maybe we'll finish out the month in the positive side. Maybe. August we started out in the red here, and we ended out in the red as well. Okay. Bitcoin ETF inflows here. Nice inflows for today at least. 259. We still don't have BlackRock reporting IBIT. That's probably going to push it up over, so that was nice to see there. So maybe it's going to be a good month for us. We'll see. All right, some good news stories here on Bitcoin. Strategy obviously has acquired another 4,048 Bitcoin for $449.3 million at 110,981 per coin, and has achieved a Bitcoin yield of 25.7% year to date as of obviously September 1st. They hodl now 636,505 BTC acquired for $46.95 billion. And an average price of $73,765 per Bitcoin. So that's awesome to see that they're continuing to stack there on that, taking obviously Bitcoin off exchanges and everything else. And then also we have this from a day or two ago. Luxury brand Gucci to accept Bitcoin and crypto at select stores. So more adoption here happening for Bitcoin. That's good news there as well. This is from the Bitcoin historian here. Just in 130 billion, Van Eck just said the New York Stock Exchange, NASDAQ, and the CME will start trading Bitcoin and crypto soon. BTC going mainstream, buckle up. Yeah, I mean, the more on-ramps that we have for Bitcoin, the more people that can have access to it, the better it is for price action, I believe. It's going to decrease the volatility, I think, in the long run for Bitcoin, especially as it goes up in price going forward. But that's fine with me. As long as we get to $1 million in the next 5 to 10 years, I'll be happy with that. I'm sure you guys will be too. All right, so there's that, and let's get into the miners that we do have now. So the miners that we have are only Cango reporting for August here. And here's what we have for them. Number of Bitcoin produced here was 663.7. Nice little increase here from the 650.5 that they had in July. Average number of Bitcoin produced per day was 21.41 compared to 20.99, so a slight increase there. Total Bitcoin held right now is at 5,193.4. Obviously, everything that they mined, they're hodling right now. So they are probably diluting shares to do that. We've seen that with other companies do that as well. Deployed hash rate is the same at 50 exahash, right? And average operating hash rate was 43.74. Again, with Cango, while they do own some infrastructure now, I think they own a 50 megawatt site here that they purchased last month. But other than that, everything else is hosted for them, right? And they actually talk about it here. Recent acquisition of 50 megawatt Bitcoin mining facility in the U.S. state of Georgia. They are looking ahead. We see significant potential to further optimize our operating efficiency and capture emerging opportunities in the energy and HPC sectors as well. So they're looking to get into HPCI potentially as well on that one. Okay, that's the numbers that I do have here for them. And we'll get into the miners' break-even numbers here in a second. So Cango, they're reporting their quarterly results here on September 4th. So we'll get an updated number of shares outstanding potentially for them. Right now, I'm at 177 million roughly. Stock price is at $4.67. That gives them a market cap of $827 million as it is. Performance over the last 12 weeks has not been great. You can see that on the chart right here. It is all red for the most part, but it hasn't been that bad either. I mean, they're only down 8.3 from 12 weeks ago, down 10.7 from 8 weeks ago. From 4 weeks, they're down 4.2, and then last week they were down 2.65. So overall, not too bad, right? Current hash rate 50, future hash rate, they're pretty much fully installed here as it is right now. Bitcoin HODL, that needs to get updated here. What is that actually worth here now on them? Let me see that. That's 577 million right there. So it's 69.85% of their market cap is their HODL position, and each share has $3.26 of HODL in it, valuation-wise. Bitcoin production here we can see has climbed up here, and this is probably going to plateau or actually start to decrease as time goes on and they don't install more hash rate. With Bitcoin hash rate going up as well, difficulty is going to increase, resulting in them generating less. The only thing that's going to help them generate more revenue is Bitcoin price going up in value as well. And that goes for all the miners that aren't growing. Revenue got to 76.36 million based on what I can figure out here for the amount that they mined, the average Bitcoin price for August as well, and the average network difficulty for the month as well. So that's kind of what we're looking at there. Current estimated run rate for them is 116 million here for, if we take August figures times 12, that's kind of what we're looking at there right now. That's without Bitcoin going up or anything like that. Bitcoin HODL has continued to increase here every month for them. So they are stacking everything that they can. Hash rate, obviously at 50 exahash right now. Bitcoin sold, nothing there. BTC per exahash efficiency, pretty good. 13.3 right now as it is. And the miners down here were operating, let me see here, for August, I figured out possibly right around 27.17 days roughly. So pretty close to, I wouldn't say full uptime, I think really, really close to uptime, full uptime. What is that going to be, like 90%, 90-some%, I think, for the month roughly, just based off my math in my brain here really quick. So that's kind of where it got to 76.361 million there, more or less. Institutions have increased here to 57 institutions for them. Shares, however, decreased here a little bit to 30.57 million, down a little bit from the 30.69 million. Percentage-wise, decreased a little bit as well to 21.81% compared to 21.9%. We still have the one buy rating for them from the analyst with price targets for the high at $8.04, and that's pretty much across the board there for average and low as well. So at least we have one analyst rating them compared to what we had prior, which was 0, and we'll see how they do going forward here. So based on the numbers that we do have here, right, if we look at the last 3 quarters, which I only have data for, I think, 1 quarter of data. Yeah, I only have it for March here, so I wouldn't go by this. I'm looking more on this side of things here. Future revenue, right, based on August production times 12. Somewhere around there. I'm guessing 50% net income somewhere around there would give us P with a P of 5. I'm heavily discounting them because they don't own much of their infrastructure, only 50 megawatts. I have them between 1293 and on the higher end, depending on what their cost is to mine, right? Since everything is pretty much hosted there. We would have them somewhere between 1939. I'd say probably closer to this number here right now as it is, because I think with them hosting, they're going to be paying a little bit more than they would if they had their own sites. So that's kind of where I see them. So they are undervalued in my opinion, but again, asset light, right? They're changing that slowly, but they're still highly asset light as it is. So the only thing you're really valuing them there on is potential for Bitcoin revenue. Obviously, the sites are not going to be appreciating in value anytime soon because they don't have any except for the 50 megawatts there. And they're going to be probably diluting some more in order to do that as well. I don't know how much they're going to dilute. We'll find out possibly from the Q2 results, which are going to provide on, when is that? The 4th, which is, I think, on Thursday. So that'll be coming out. We'll obviously cover that when that happens there. Okay, so there's that for Cipher, or not Cipher, for Cango, sorry. The only thing I'd like to see them do more is obviously get more sites that they have control over. Hash rate, I'd like to see them possibly grow that if they can. And we'll see if the HODL, works out for them. Bitcoin price going up to 200,000 is going to definitely help, right? It's going to double the value of that HODL there. But other than that, I mean, we're not really seeing the miners that are just Bitcoin miners that have a HODL position. They're not really getting too much of a premium on that. So, and that's kind of changed around from last time, I think, from last cycle. But that's it on Cango. We'll see what they report on Thursday for that one. All right, quickly here, we're going to take a look at the break even for the quarterly results here, since pretty much everybody has reported except for Cango. And we'll probably include Cango here in the next time we do this. as well. But this is the way it stacks up here. So this is the miner's current estimated break even from quarterly results. This is from Q2 for us. Some of these guys had their Q3, Q4 for our Q2. And that's where we're pulling all the data in from these guys here. This is within, so this is break even estimated range, right, without share-based compensation in there. It doesn't even include depreciation there. So this is more or less cash costs, right? What the cash costs possibly could be for these guys, plus or minus 10%. The reason I'm saying that is because I'm estimating it from their Q2 results, and we're already 2 months into Q3 right now as it is. So I'm extrapolating the data from Q2, what the cost was to mine per megawatt, per Bitcoin, all that stuff, and I'm trying to extrapolate that data into what they are currently mining right now. So this is kind of based on current time frame of where we are with Bitcoin price, along with the network hash rate exahash in that as well. So this is where we're looking at. Right, I pulled in all the quarterly expenses for these guys, energy expenses as well. Bitcoin mined, reported quarterly uptime for the 3 months in June. So that was April, May, June. Based on the number of days that were in those 3 months, here uptime percentage as well for the last 3 months, which would be basically July, August, which they haven't really reported. So August is estimated along with September is estimated. So I'm kind of estimating those production updates here. So things might change a little bit here, but they shouldn't change much for them. Then we have the current petahash average uptime, which is based on the current 3 months of averages there. Electric costs being calculated there. Bitcoin 112,500 right now, roughly more or less. Network hash rate about 930 exahash as well, right? And we're looking at stock-based compensation for last quarter. We're trying to pull that in as well. And then break even without stock-based compensation is what we're looking at here. Up here. So you can see obviously that Iren still came in number one here with 49, almost 50,000 for break even for cash costs, which is actually really, really good there. Cipher came in a number 2 spot now with 57.9 thousand for break even. Cleanspark at 62,000. So those are the top 3 miners there as it is. Hive actually has improved quite nicely here to 76,000 now. Riot's at 92,000. Core at 118,000. BitDeer still relatively high, 121,000. And it's tough to figure that one out because they also have, a lot of bunch of other business segments. So I'm trying to use like the percentage of their own Bitcoin self-mining portion of it. It's not exact, so that one might be off quite a bit. But that's kind of what I was able to figure out here. And Marathon came in at 129,000 for all in break even. Big thing for them is just the costs for overhead and the costs, the sites that are still hosted, for the machines that are hosted at some of those other sites, they're getting charged a little bit of a premium there, I guess you could say, on it. So yeah, this is kind of where we are right now for cash costs. Like I said, doesn't include compensation for site base and depreciation as well. If you include those things, things would be looking up higher for all these guys here right now as it is. Okay, but I just like to look at cash costs, right? Cash flow, are they cash flow positive or not? And a lot of these guys still are, with Bitcoin being up, at the ranges where it's at right now. Okay, so that's it. We'll get this updated again in probably a couple months once they report Q3. We'll see where they stand at that point. A lot of these guys have had quite tremendous growth here in the current quarter that we're in already as it is. And we'll include Cango in there as well. So let me know if this is kind of in line with what you guys were expecting or if I'm way off. Okay. We'll obviously make corrections if I need to. So all of my Patreon members there, if you guys could double check my work, there's a lot of data in there. I try to be as due diligent as possible, but I can make mistakes. I'm only human. Okay, but this is the best I could come up with here right now, which is kind of in line with what my thinking was anyways. All right, that's it. Spreadsheets, as always, available to my Patreon members. Link for that is down in the description here. And let's get into Q&A here. See what you guys have to say on all this stuff. What were you guys thinking about Iren and Cipher today? Those things pumping nicely here. Will Cipher get a deal anytime soon here for, co-location or something like that? I mean, the way the stock is running right now, it kind of seems like that. But, let's see what you guys think. All right, let's get into Q&A, and we'll call it a day here. So pretty short and sweet here today, it looks like. We're only going on about 20 minutes right now as it is, so we're doing pretty good. All right, questions, comments, as always, I will work my way up on the comments and question side of things. If you could preface those with a question mark or Q, I would appreciate it here. And let's see what we got going on here. Okay. Lucian Pop says, let's start early. We kind of started on time. I was able to get everything done relatively quickly here. I also spent like 2 hours a day at my son's soccer practice and my nephew's soccer practice, so that took a lot of time out of me, and I had to catch up when I got back. What else do we have here? Trying to find some questions or comments. Okay, George has got a question here. Do you think Cleanspark will still pursue HPCI if BTC goes up parabolic in the next few weeks? Thanks. I think they will. I think there is obviously benefit to having a steady income stream, income in conjunction with Bitcoin mining as well, right? Bitcoin mining side of things can help fund the HPCI as well and fund other operations and growth, whatever you want to do. But then you have the HPCI. I think that plays into one, institutions wanting consistency, right? Something that they can count on. With Bitcoin, you can't really count on it. It could go up to 200,000 or it could go down back to 73,000, right? So that's just an unknown there for them. And I think they like the HPC AI side of the business more, currently at least, right? Bitcoin go up to 200,000. It's going to be great for not only Cleanspark, but Iren, for Cipher, for others, Riot, all those guys that are still mining. They're going to be generating a heck of a lot of revenue, which could help them out with their ambitions for HPCI as well. So I think, yes, I think they will. Let's see. MJS says, Seb, can we get a chart that lists the miner's energy cost per kilowatt? It seems that energy costs and efficiency determines the miner's profitability. Yes, it does. Cost per kilowatt is Iron's, I think, is one of the cheapest. They're like at 3 cents something. Cipher's pretty close to that as well. Then you have Cleanspark being right now, I think they reported like 5.6. And so, yeah, and Riot gets credits. I could probably try figuring that stuff out. If not, I could probably find it out on it. But yeah, it's probably not a bad idea. Okay, Mark says, there is Iren 300 evaluation in bullish long-term case. $300 per share. I mean, that's definitely high compared to where it's at right now. Let's just say it's at $30 right now. It's got a market cap. What does it have market cap right now as it is? Based on the numbers that I have for them. They have a market cap of about $8 billion. So that's 10x from here. We're talking about 80 billion, right? 80 billion market cap. I mean, it's kind of in line with what we've seen from CoreWeave here at least. But CoreWeave has huge contracts with Microsoft, with OpenAI, for a lot of billions of revenue there. If they can do the same thing, then sure, yeah, we could probably see that being around there. But how much of a dilution would we get from it? Maybe, it's a lot of unknowns there. Is it possible? It's possible, but it's just a lot of things we have to go right in their way to get there. Okay, MJS asks, why is Wolf running up so much? Well, they got to deal with Fluid Stack, which is being backed by Google, right? So that's why it's been running up here. It didn't run up that much today. If we look at the chart here on that one, let me see here. Wolf. Where's Wolf? All right. Well, it's been going up here a little bit here, but it's been kind of, I would say, flat after the announcement came out, right? The announcement came out, got a too high of $10.71. It's dropped after that, tried rebounding here. And it's going up here slowly, so I think it's based on that still a little bit. I think this is a pretty good range for it right now as it is. But I think we're building out the sites there to host that. That's coming up here. And then we'll see if they can get another deal from somebody else maybe. And then they'll pump the stack up even higher at that point. So that's the main reason why, though. Okay, going back down here. All right. Des Marcus says Eric Jackson is pumping Iren Cipher and Open. Yes, he is. Yeah, he's been a strong proponent of Open. He's laid out a pretty good case for it, I think. Now it's just whether or not the board and the management there actually take some of those things to heart, right? I don't know. All right. John Kurt says, Seb, we are going to have an extended cycle if Bitcoin follows the S&P 500. Recently, any down day has different sectors like materials, utilities, financials that go higher, so there's rotation. Okay. I don't know if, well, I think the S&P is going to continue to go up higher. If we get the rate cuts, that should help. But yeah, I think we're going to be in an extended cycle potentially. Right? There's just so much more adoption here happening in Bitcoin that we may not have that, what do they call those? Paper hands that don't hold on to the Bitcoin and start selling it, and we get those 70% drawdowns on Bitcoin like we have in the past cycles. And maybe this time we don't have that because we got companies holding it. We got other people holding it. More people are maybe a little bit more bullish on it, I think, for the long-term prospects. All right. John Smith's got a question here. Hi, Seb. Dan was saying that Iren's GPUs would take around 2 years to pay off. If they keep updating them to the latest model, do you think there will be problem financing updating them? Okay, they said, yeah, 2 years, I think, for the GPUs themselves, and another year with the build out, right? The infrastructure as well added to it. Every 2 years, I mean, if you can hold on to those, you might, I mean, you can probably run them for about 4 or 5 years, I would imagine, right? So if you can pay them off in 2 years, you're still going to get a couple of years out of those things to generate cash flow positive revenue. At that point, they could obviously get your generation machines, have those still running in the background there, because they do have 2 gigawatts of power that they could continue to add on to. So I don't think that's going to be a problem there. And I think as long as they can continue to add customers that want the newest and latest generation machines, I don't think there's going to be a problem there. Okay, let's see. John Kurt says, so market breadth is never overly negative. Tech doesn't have to lead for the market to continue higher. We'll see S&P at 7,500 end of 2026. Bitcoin should do great with rate cuts coming. Yeah, I would agree. Okay, Gary's got a question here. Seems like old whales are trying to start a bear market with all their selling. It worked last 3 cycles. Harder to manipulate with more buying this cycle, but not impossible. Yeah, I mean, the whales do have a lot of coins there, right? Could they spur it? Maybe, but it's being bought up relatively quickly here by companies that want to put it on their treasury. So if they start selling it, somebody else is going to be buying it here. It's just we're seeing a lot more buying here than we have last time from corporations and everything else. Sadie, thank you so much, as always, for the likes there. Joe Walker's got a question. With Iren becoming a cloud service producer itself, does that change how much stock you'll sell in Q4? What's the percentage, Iren, you would plan on keeping for long haul? Thank you. Right now, yeah, I mean, let's just say Bitcoin goes 150,000, 200,000 by the end of the year, right? They're going to be generating a heck of a lot more revenue because of that. The stock should benefit on that. And then also if they report any kind of good news with a co-location deal possibly, or even if they go and add it themselves, they're going to be generating even, 200 to 250 million more next year from just the HPCI business side of things. I mean, I'm up already on that one. As of today, up 261% from when I got into it last year. I'm still holding on to it. I haven't sold anything. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I did sell a portion about a month back, and I bought Cipher at that point. I sold Cleanspark at the same time, right? But I sold, what was it, 500 shares, I think it was, or something like that. At that point, a small percentage, nonetheless, to get into Cipher because I saw Cipher having the same potential, potentially. So I'm going to hold on to it for right now, see where this thing goes. I think the potential for it is massive in the long term here. And it seems like Dan and company there are doing a fantastic job. So while that is continuing to happen, I'm going to hold on to it. I'm not in any hurry right now to take gains right now as it is, right? I think I ran the numbers on it. If I was to sell like 20% of it right now or something like that, and it went up another 3, I think it was another 3x or something like that, I would end up losing close to like 200,000 in possible gains. I'm like, well, I don't need that right now. I don't need any of this stuff that I'm invested in right now to survive. So if I don't need it to survive, I'm going to probably just hold on to it right now and see where they go. Because it could be one of those things where it does potentially go up to, past $100 or even higher, depending on how well they execute on things. So as long as I'm in profit, and if it falls down, we get into a bear market in not only Bitcoin, but in just the general stock market as well. Well, okay, I can weather it. I can hold on to it, see how that goes going forward here. I've been through this many times already. It hasn't scared me out of it. It actually just made me buy more at that time. So I have a longer time frame viewpoint on this. I'm not here to day trade these things. And if it can be, generational wealth for myself and my family, I'm willing to hold on to it for a little bit longer here. So we'll see where things go, right? If it goes maybe up 3x from where it is right now, getting up to like $90 by the end of the year here, maybe I will take something off the table, just a little bit, right? Just to maybe have a nice Christmas or something like that for the family. Maybe take the family on a vacation or something like that. Maybe I'll do a little bit of that, but it won't be anything major. I don't think, at least not right now, based on what I'm seeing here. But we'll see. Sarah Mellon says, wow, geez, Mara's cost is so bad. Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is just a overhead cost, unfortunately, for them. All right. Shinshi asks, hi, Sebastian, why did you buy Cipher? Cipher, great cost to mine when it comes to electricity costs for them, so that's great. They've been actually growing their Bitcoin production as well. And they do have the optionality for some of their sites to be used for HPCI, and that was the other part of it, right? So we're obviously seeing the HPCI plays doing better than pure play Bitcoin miners. So I'm like, okay, I had Cleanspark at that point. I had Bitfarms. I had Iren, obviously. I'm like, the next best thing is probably Cipher here. So I wanted to get into that one as well at that point. And that was more or less based on the run-up that we saw in TeraWolf, right? TeraWolf, I think it was right around that time when the TeraWolf deal came out. I'm like, okay, this thing is, went up almost, 100% in a couple of days on that one. I'm like, all right, if Cipher announces anything like that, I'd rather be in it than not be in it. So I got into that at that point. Let's see. Larry says, since I'm right and die, Iris now at 4% profit, will BTF. Well, Bitfarms? I'm not sure what that acronym is for BTF. Yeah, but I'm with you there. But that's awesome. You're up 400%. You definitely got me beat, so you got in a better pricing than I did even. All right. Richard, can Hut 8 prove its BTC hodl? Well, I don't think they need to prove it. They do get audited once a year when they provide their fiscal year-end results. At that point, those should be audited and those should be accounted for, right? So that's the way I would look at it. Those should be accounted for at least once a year at that point. Gary's got a question. Do you think Cipher or CoreWeave and Core Scientific will get done under current conditions? CoreWeave keeps bleeding out with huge debt and decreasing profit margins, 20% to 2%. Yeah, I mean, it's way, way lower from where it was when they struck the deal there. That's obviously valuing the company for CoreWeave much lower based on the multiple that they were using at the deal at that point. So either it's going to have to be restructured somehow, or I'm thinking it's going to get probably voted down by shareholders at this point. Right? It's not a great deal for shareholders as it is currently. So we'll see. Shinshi says, I sold out Mara completely last month. Mara was a waste of my rotation plan. I got into Mara because made a deal basically with somebody on X. They said if I buy Mara, that they would buy Cleanspark and Iren, I think, at that time. So they're actually doing a lot better than I am. I bought Mara and I was up only like 4% on it, 5% from when I got into it a couple months back. So I'm like, this thing is not doing anything. And that's the reason why I never really got into it. This time around, didn't get into it last cycle either, but this time around I just didn't see, I wasn't too happy with the operations there. So I sold that, got some more Cipher. Chi, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. So tired of Cleanspark, might sell out completely and get into Iren. Completely understandable. Cleanspark has not been doing great this year. Was a darling of last year, if you recall, 2024. It outran everybody to $24, had the best gains, and then it kind of floundered, right? I think some of that stuff might have been from their own PR mistakes. Selling shares towards the top, which I understand was pre-planned, like several months in advance. The stock got up to some $23, $24, whatever it was, that they had basically a plan to sell at that point. And then they also came out with dilution at that time, which didn't help with an ATM, I think. They came out with that right afterwards as well. So it was just a couple of things that they kind of fumbled on, I think, time-wise, which investors didn't like. And I don't know if that didn't help out. Plus them maintaining or remaining to stay pure play Bitcoin miner when things were changing over into HPCI, potentially, maybe that also didn't help out. So I think with them, with Zach being gone there and Matt being in charge, I think there might be some revitalization in this stock. We'll see. Archie says, my 5K in Iren is now worth around 15,000. My 8K in Cleanspark is now worth 6,000. It's been the same way. Well, at times it was the same thing for me, right? Where Cleanspark was, I was either break even on it or down, like I think at one point I was down 10% on it this year, which was like, geez. Held on to it through 24, all the way back down here, held on to it. I'm still up on it though right now, like 70 some percent. Iren, like I said, Iren has been a huge gainer for me. I'm up 161% on that one as it is right now. So I'm happy with that. Or is it, sorry, 261%. I'm up 261% on that one. Jack Charles, hey Seb, if my portfolio is around 90% holding Iren and the rest is Cipher, would you sell some profits from Iren and rotate on Cipher? Great work as always, very much appreciated. Thank you so much. And that's going to be your decision on that one. I don't know how much you have as far as 90% and 10% of Cipher there. It has obviously run up nicely. Depending when you got into it, you could be up huge, right? You could be up 200, 400%, whatever it might be. That's going to be your call, right? Do you think Cipher can get you a better return in the short term? Then maybe do that. If you think that Iren will be a better return on investment in the longer term, maybe hold on to it, right? So you got to decide on how you want to play that one. All right, YKY question: do pure play BTC miners still have a chance to run this cycle? I think they do, but we need Bitcoin to have a consistent run up here. This current cycle, we have seen Bitcoin run up, go sideways, go down actually for an extended period of time, which is never good for the miners in general, especially now with the pure play miners, and the HPCI miners have actually done better. But we do need Bitcoin to just go on a nice run up here where, we don't get an extended 4 or 5 months where it's lingering flat or going down 10, 20% or even 30%. That never helps. So as long as Bitcoin cooperates, the miners that are pure play should have a nice run up here with Bitcoin going up to 150,000, 200,000, whatever it might be by the end of the year. All right, SH's got a question here. Bitfarms has strategic locations with access to fiber optic cables and global connectivity. What do you think can be the best fit for a partner? NVIDIA, Amazon, or Google? NVIDIA is the option there. That I don't know. I mean, they do have locations in Washington State, right, which they talked about, which could be something interesting there for. I mean, you obviously have quite a few. You got Microsoft, you got Amazon headquartered there as well. And so it's hard to tell. Hopefully they get some kind of a deal, because I'm relying on them getting a kind of deal here. We'll see. But it's hard to tell who would be the partner there. They could go at it alone. Maybe it's going to be tough for them, like Iren did, and partner up with NVIDIA, become a preferred partner. Maybe go about it that way if they can't get a deal for co-location maybe. All right. Shinshi, hi Seb. Am I hearing an undertone that we are abandoning the pure miner strategy? I sold out of Mara, Spark strategy, and Riot completely in August. I am now holding Iron Wolf, Hut, and Cipher only. I'm not giving up on some of the pure play miners. I'm obviously still own a bunch of Cleanspark shares though. But I mean, we're kind of following where the money's going, right? The money's going into HPCI, so that's kind of where we're going into it as well. And like I said, we need Bitcoin to cooperate. We need Bitcoin to go up steadily in the upwards direction, instead of having a run up here in a couple of days and then being flat for a number of days and months actually. All right. Okay. SH says last time NVIDIA partnered with Nevada's, the stock stayed between between $1 and $2. I'm not sure what you mean there. Heinz has got a question here. Are anyone buying Cleanspark or Peeps given up? I was thinking about buying it today, actually. When I sold Mara and Rivian, with those proceeds, I was thinking about buying Cleanspark. I was looking at Cleanspark. Like, Cleanspark still isn't low enough for me to buy more. I said I would buy probably more if it got down below $9. It didn't get there. So I got into Cipher instead. It wasn't much. I mean, I only bought 400 shares of Cipher at $8.01, right? So it wasn't a large amount there. All right. John's got a question here. Does Riot have a chance of breaking all-time highs this cycle? I mean, the chance is always there. It's just, can they get a deal for HPCI? I think that would be the biggest thing for them there. What was their previous all-time high? Wasn't it like 60 some odd dollars here? Let me take a look at Riot really quick here. We'll take a look at the weekly chart on it. Yeah, it was actually $80. $79.50 was the high on it, all-time high. That was obviously back in 2021. When Mara also had a nice run up at that point as well. That one got up to $83.45. But that got up to it obviously in November, whereas Riot reached that peak here, and I believe it was in, what was that? February. right? Right before Bitcoin went down and then it came back up here. So the only one that followed Bitcoin in 2021 was Mara, really, based on this, because you can see the same kind of action. Bitcoin got to 63,000, went down, right? And then went back up here, and Mara actually outperformed there quite nicely. I mean, that was up like 70x from the bottom when it bottomed out here, right around there. There was a huge increase at that point. Right, where were we? Questions, Q&A. Talked about that one. Let's see. Sir Mellon says Crypto Klepto was completely wrong on Mara. It's absolutely trash. I mean, yeah, they can't seem to get their footing for some reason, not only in the operation side of things, but I mean, they keep going into these different things, and yeah, I don't know. It's been rough. All right, more Tim. Question: Chart monkeys all over X keep calling for big runs in Cleanspark and Mara, regardless of Bitcoin price. Are they out of touch, or could they be right eventually? Bitcoin. If Bitcoin runs, I think those guys will do great, right? At least they should do great, because if the Bitcoin price goes to, again, 150,000, 200,000 by the end of the year, their revenues are basically going to double at that point, while their costs to mine are still, Cleanspark at least, their costs to mine are really low. All right, so I would expect Cleanspark to do probably better than Mara, but we'll see. We'll see how Bitcoin cooperates with us or not. Okay. Let's see, SS2 streams today. You're a gangster. Did I do another stream today? I don't think so. This is the first stream I did today. If I did, there must be a lookalike out there that's doing a stream for me. I did Spaces yesterday, and I did a stream last night as well. So that was the only time that I did that. Unless you caught a video from this morning that I posted from yesterday, maybe that was it. Gary, do you still think pure play miners will do better than the HPCI miners in 2025, or have you come over to the good side? It's going to be tough for them to catch up to, obviously, to like Iren right now. The only way they can come close is with Bitcoin rocketing for the next 3 months, basically 4 months, September, October, November, December, 4 months, with steady upward momentum without these extended periods of time where it goes sideways or down. That would be the only way I could see these guys coming close to maybe to what Iren has done here with that. Now, if Iren also comes out with a co-location deal, then right, that thing's going to bounce even more. So it's going to be, might be tough, but I would expect them to do reasonably well, right? From depending when you got into them, it's going to be your point of view on timeframes and your cost averages and everything else. But if we look at from the bottom where these things have been, I mean, a lot of these guys are still up 4x, 5x from the bottom where they bottomed out. So if you got close to that, that's actually not too bad. And depending when you got into them, if you can get 3, 4, 5x out of it, that's still actually really good, right? It's not the 70x that we saw last cycle, but man, if you can beat the S&P 500 in 2-3 years and outperform it greatly, I think that's a win, right? I mean, everybody's complaining they're not going up 10x, 15x, 20x. Be happy you got 3, 5x, even 7x, whatever it might be. If you can get 10x, that's fantastic, right? It's tough. It's really, really hard to do that in the market. Mortim, Eric Jackson tweeted that Cipher could hit 40-60 by February. Crazy. Again, if they get a co-location deal or something like that, what kind of deal is it? What's it valued at? And what's the potential going forward? I mean, they're at $8 right now as it is, 8 something. 40 would be a 5x. 40 I could see possibly happening. 60, that'd be a little bit tougher, I think. But again, depending on the deal. Okay, R2509S. What's up with Bit Digital? Institutions loading up, CO loading up, Ethereum near all-time high. Stock price is standstill. I mean, they're in the same boat that BMNR is, that Game is in as well. How much of a premium should you get for holding Ethereum? Right? My opinion is you shouldn't get that much. 1.3 maybe. At times you could probably get a little bit more with Ethereum running up or Bitcoin running up. Okay. Yeah, you could probably get a little bit more of a premium, but they shouldn't get more than 1.3, I think. 1.2, okay, that's not too bad. A little bit of premium, okay, but I can just hold on to Ethereum myself or Bitcoin myself if I wanted to go that route, right? And then eventually, if you get banks where banks are able to have Ethereum or Bitcoin and hold them for you as your assets there, you may not need these kind of companies as well. So I'm not a big fan of the treasury companies. I like the fact that they're buying up this stuff, but I'm not a big fan. But that's just me. I could be completely wrong on that. Just like I wasn't a big fan of, if you recall, last cycle, we had all these yield on Bitcoin, right? All these products for Bitcoin yield. If you give them your Bitcoin, basically, you would get 7-9% Bitcoin yield. I wasn't a big fan of that. I'm like, that doesn't seem sustainable. And it wasn't. You saw a lot of those guys go under. I'm not saying that they're going to go under, but I'm just saying I get the same kind of vibes from it a little bit. All right, what's the main reason behind it? Just to hodl it? Well, I can hodl myself. Just got a question here. Hi, Seb. What's your confidence of anything above 150,000 BTC by November? Out of 100%, 150,000. I mean, we're not too far off. November's still by the end of November. By November, so you're looking at October, by the end of October, basically. So 2 months. I mean, it's doable. I think it's doable. Yeah, if we get rate cuts here in September and the following months as well, yeah, I think I would say probably 80 to 90%. I'd give it somewhere around there. Okay. Edward Garcia says, Trump needs energy to return the industry back in U.S., so HPCI miners with gigawatt pipeline are in better position. What's your opinion? I think, yeah, anytime you have megawatts available to build out, you're going to be probably in a better position than those that are looking for megawatts. So yeah, I would agree with that. All right. Shinshi's got a question. Hi, Seb. As if the money leads to AI HPC, are you willing to adjust the stocks you cover to include AI HPC energy players? AI HPC energy players. So you're talking about like the electricity companies there, right? Like ComEd, where I live. You might have other ones in there as well. Engine, I think is another one. Maybe. Might have to look into that. Maybe. Okay. All right. That says, never mind. Erased the comment. Realized it was yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday's stream. Let's see. Mark says, did you sell Rivian at a loss? I did. I sold it at a loss. I've been holding on to it. I left it on there. I only had like 100 shares left. So I had, at one point I had 1,000 shares of Rivian, and I slowly sold that down and used that to buy, Cleanspark, Bitfarms at that point as well. So I did sell at a loss, so I'll be able to take some of the profits that I did take on Cleanspark and Iren earlier this year to buy Cipher. I'll be able to offset some of those losses or some of those gains at least a little bit on it. That'll help out. That's kind of the reason I did it. It's like Rivian's not really doing much. I can always revisit it later on if the company's actually doing much better and pumping out a lot of cars, right? Making a lot of revenue there. So we'll always take a look at it going down the road, maybe. All right. Hi, Seb. Is your portfolio higher than in November 2024? I'm asking because mine isn't yet and hoping to get higher in November 2025 than in 2024. It is. It is higher, yeah, by about, I want to say like 90 to 100,000 higher from where it was at that point. And the main reason for that is obviously Iren, right? I bought Iren back in, what was it, May, June, July? I can't remember of last year. I bought it somewhere in there. So that definitely helped out. Dollar cost average down more into Iren, Cleanspark as well. Bitfarms, I sold a bunch of Bitfarms shares in November, December of last year. And bought more Iren and Cleanspark at that time as well. So yeah, I'm up. If I hadn't done that, if I hadn't bought Iren, I probably would have been lower than where I am right now. All right. Sarah asks if Iren hits 100, you got to dance or something on the stream. Dance or something on the stream. All right. We'll think about that. Maybe I'll put on a wig at that point. Halloween wig or something like that. We'll figure it out. We'll do something. All right. Larry, since Iren is behaving, how high can it go? Okay. I mean, that's a good question, right? There's three things really that could drive the price of iron higher. One, Bitcoin price going up higher, right? That's going to drive it up. Number two is they build out, obviously, Horizon 1, get on building with Horizon 2, and install their own servers there for HPC/AI, and they continue the path that they're on right now. Third option is obviously getting a co-location deal as well. So, I mean, if you get all three of those things, oh my gosh, I don't know where we could be. I mean, yeah, we could be looking at, much higher prices from where we are right now. I don't want to say the figures, but much higher from where we are. Okay. Let's see. Steven says Riot is looking strong. I bought some. Okay. Wish you all the best in that one. Yeah. Again, we'll see what kind of deals they can get. Everybody's in this space, so it's a tough space to be in. Big thing that's going to be driving is maybe location for these things, megawatts of details on all that stuff. We'll see. DeFi Iron price target. What time frame are we looking at? If they continue to build out, I could see the stock going up for a lot longer and a lot higher. Short-term price target, I would say somewhere around $40. Right? I mean, we're at $30 right now. I'd say $40, maybe a little bit north of that, is the short-term price target, at least right now. And then, are you selling iron? No, I'm not selling iron. I actually was thinking about selling it before they released their quarterly results. I'm like, I'm in this thing already as it is. I'm up nicely even before then. I'm like, I have faith in, maybe I shouldn't say, I have confidence in the team there to execute well. They've done a fantastic job so far. I don't see why things would change. And it just seems like, one good thing after another happening for this company here. So I decided to, I'm going to hold on to it for even longer. We'll see where it goes. All right. What's your gain on Iren? 10,000%? No. Or 1,000%, whatever it is. No, it's only $261 on that one. That's because I've been buying it also at higher prices. First time I bought into it was, like I said, last year, May, June, July. I can't remember exactly when. It's when they started reporting that they're growing to 30 exahash, then 40 exahash, then 50 exahash. That's right around the time frame when I started buying it, a lot of it. And then I dollar cost average into it as well as time progressed. I'm buying it at higher prices. So I'm up 261. Had I bought it back in 2022 when I was looking at the stock, and if they didn't have the special purpose vehicle loans for the machines that they returned there, if that didn't happen and I bought into it, I would be up way up more. At that point, I probably would have been buying it somewhere around the $2 range, maybe even under that as well. So sometimes things work out the way they do, which is not bad, right? It's still up nicely on it. I can't complain. Shinshi, I never had Rivian stock. I never had Rivian. Okay. Yeah, I got into that one with an IPO. Big mistake there. Learned a lesson. Let's see. Is CoreWeave site at Core Scientific running for HPC/AI? I thought it was supposed to be running by May, but I haven't seen any payments coming in or news on it. Well, they have a bunch of sites that they're transitioning over to. Which site specifically you're talking about? But nonetheless, yes, originally when they struck the deal in 2024, so last year, they were supposed to be up and running in a year by the end of this first half of 2025. That's been extended out to towards the end of this year because of, I guess, some long lead items or something like that, whatever is going on there. That's the only thing that I know. So yes, that has been delayed towards the end of the year here. All right. What about Wolf? Can follow the growth of Iren? Possibly. Right there, it's just two different teams there. Iren has 2 gigawatts locked up, ready to go, building out. Wolf also has quite a bit of megawatts, but not that much. And Wolf is going more for the co-location deals, where Iren is going more for their own. They're becoming like a neocloud, like a hyperscaler themselves, almost like. So there's a difference between those two, and then with the way that they're going at it. Could Iren's path be possibly more profitable? Possibly, right? And maybe that's why they're getting a better premium than Wolf is. Wolf is obviously contracted for a certain amount of years, right? You know what they're going to be getting and so forth, so on. With Iren, they're getting probably a better premium there, I think, right? Doing these kind of smaller time contracts with customers, whether it's for 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever it might be. Those are usually a little bit higher in price, I think, than you would get for 8 years, 10 years contract. But they also have more control over it as well. All right. Let's see, DeFi, what to do with Cleanspark? Me, personally, I'm holding on to it. Right, they're starting to talk about HPCI. If they can do something on that, the stock should pump on that. If not, I think the stock should pump on Bitcoin going up as well. We'll see if that thesis works out, right? That's still the play there for me at least. But that's going to be your call as far as what to do. All right, Shinshi question, hi Sebastian, what is yours and market price target for Cipher circulating out there on the X platform? Well, people are saying for what, $40 some dollars, $60 potentially. Right now, I mean, without a deal for Cipher, they appear to be pretty well priced actually, based on my numbers here, just for the Bitcoin mining side of things. So they are definitely getting a premium on HPCAI potential. I don't know what that's going to be, obviously, but I have them at like $8, already at $8.32. At least that's where my higher end valuation for them was going to be here. So I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it could go up even higher. Short term, I would think if they do get a deal done in September, in this month, we might be looking at, I'd say somewhere between $15 and $20 per share, potentially. And that's kind of where I'm thinking, at least, depending on the deal too. But that's kind of what I would see. Okay, talked about that one. Let's see here. Okay, DeFi. CoreWeave is at 50 billion and Iren is now around 7 billion. Iren is actually at close to 8 billion. They're at 7.9 billion right now as it is as of today. So, yep. Let's see. It's around 7 billion. Iren has less debt and BTC to fund operations. What am I missing? 50 billion market cap for Iren this year. That would be basically... would that be a 6x, right? 48 billion roughly would be a 6x on it. I mean, geez. The difference between CoreWeave and Iren right now is CoreWeave has obviously a lot of contracts in place with big names, and they're trying to build that out as fast as possible to start generating those revenues there. Yes, they do have a lot of debt as well, and that debt is in the form of contracts with like CoreWeave, Galaxy, for the Helios site there. What's the other one? Applied Digital as well. I think that's where a lot of the debt is. The debt is also on, obviously, all of the GPU buying from NVIDIA. Yeah, it's just a different animal altogether. They've been asset light. They are now trying to get, obviously, CoreWeave is trying to buy CORZ Scientific to have a little bit more control over it and save quite a bit of money there. They need to do that as much as possible. They need to have control over, I would say, 100% of their operations there in order to have, substantial savings in the long run. But yeah, could Iren? Yeah, I mean, Iren has multiple pathways to getting there. Bitcoin price going up, them doing what they're doing now, being NeoCloud, a hyperscaler, whatever they want to do, and also maybe possibly getting some co-location deals if they wanted to, if the numbers were right. So that's kind of where I stand on that one. But I'd love to see it to get to 50 million. Another 6x from here. Oh, that would be fantastic. I would be up, what would I be up? Roughly like 1,300% at that point. Would that be right? From where it is right now, another 6x. I'm 200% up right now. I have to run the math, something like that. All right, Eduardo, thanks, Seb. Here from Spain, good night. You're very welcome. Thanks for coming in. I did have family members. My brother-in-law lived in Spain for 7 years, along with my sister-in-law. So they have fond memories of Spain. They loved it there. One of these times I want to go and visit Spain and a lot of European countries as well. All right, Sauer says, Tom thinks Cleanspark will announce AI on monthly report. Do you agree? What will they announce on the AI monthly report, though? Then I don't know what they will report. They might report that they are working towards AI. Okay, I could see that happening. But then I report as far as any revenue coming from AI right now. I don't see how... I mean, it's not impossible, but how would they get something up and running within a month, basically? Yeah. All right. Larry, what do Bitfarms need to rise? I think it's been rising here. I mean, obviously bottomed out, around 60 cents earlier this year. So it's gone up at least nicely from that point on. What does it need to do going forward? Provide an HPCI deal with somebody. right? Something that is going to lift up the spirits of investors and institutions as well to get on board there. I think they're doing all the right things. They have a nice site in Pennsylvania that they could possibly use for that. They also have a nice site in Washington that they could use for smaller, a data center potentially. So we'll see. I think any kind of news around that would be very welcome. Shinshi says, question, I bought over 500 shares of Cipher, so help me God. I bought 400 shares today as well. That puts me up to 3,600 shares, I think, now total. And Cipher, 36 or 37, I can't remember exactly. I know I bought like 3,000 something a couple of weeks back. Since you bought today at 842, so you bought towards the higher portion of it a little bit. I think it's actually gone up from there. I bought at 801 today, so I actually saw the dip happening on these guys here, and that's kind of why I'm like, okay, pretty good time to buy into it. And Cypher's, it's at 832, okay. So you did buy in a little bit higher at that point. I think you're still good there. All right, MJS. Now, throw cold water on Cleanspark HPC. Not throw cold water, but have you seen Cleanspark buildings? They are not what you need to house GPUs. They are not, no. They are, right, more or less for Bitcoin mining, right? They're either just pole barns, basically, with ventilation going from one side to the other, which is fine for Bitcoin mining and things like that. They do have a site, is it Sandersville or Dalton? I can't remember which one it is, that they have the immersion cooling, that there was a data center from somebody else. Was it a data center from somebody else? I think it was. They could possibly transition that over into GPU. So there's a site there. We don't know about the other ones. That's why, like I said before, I wish they would come out with just a breakdown of their sites, right? Which sites have a potential for HPC AI and possibly why, right? What do they see in those sites that could be a good thing to be used for HPC AI, I guess. That's kind of what I would like to know. Okay, DeFi, why pick BMNR over Ethereum? BMNR got Bitcoin mining and Ethereum treasury for less risk, 2.8 billion daily volume, and 1 billion buyback. ARK invest in Galaxy Digital, back it, plus staking yields, beat holding Ethereum. Yeah, I mean, yeah, so you get the staking, yes, you get what? What is it, 3%, 2-something% like that a year? It's still something, right? It's still a substantial amount of revenue there for them, potentially for it, but should you get a 1.3, right, MNEV on that? I don't know. Yeah, but you're right. I mean, obviously you got Tom Lee. He's a big proponent there, obviously. He's a big bull on it. Kathy's in there as well, invested in that. So, I mean, there's a lot of people that invested in that, yes. But that investment had a huge pump and a dump where it's now we're kind of seeing it kind of linger a little bit. We'll see. Maybe it can bounce back up here. I'm not saying it's out of the question or anything. I'm just not a big fan of those types of things. Since she thanks Seb from Yukon, Canada. Good night. Well, good night to you. Thanks for coming in as well. See, I think I'm catching up to all your guys' questions here. We'll see. Gary says CoreWeave has 1.2 billion in HPCI revenue in Q2. Huge debt, but huge revenue. Iren is just starting to focus on neo cloud space. I'm glad Iren waited for Blackwells before going all in. Yeah, they've done a great job. I'm with you on that one. So, yeah, I was just meaning Cleanspark will announce their intent. Okay, yeah, for an intent, yeah, I could see that possibly being in there because Matt's already talked about it at the Solid conference, so I think that might be in there. All right. DeFi says SBET is below MNAV, maybe a buy. I saw that too. I'd have to dig more into their operations. What else do they do besides being a treasure company at that point? And is there a reason why it would have a negative MNAV, or not negative, but below 1? All right, Mr. X, did Cleanspark release their BTC mining in August? How about Iren and Mara? Those have not. I checked it at, was it around 8 o'clock for the press releases on these guys. The only one that reported was Cango right now, so we'll probably see Mara maybe report tomorrow, along with maybe Cipher or Cleanspark and Iren maybe. We'll see. We should get those in this week, though, I believe. All right, Bevneed says, I hold Cipher, Mara, Cleanspark, and Bitfarms, only 500 shares of Cipher. I wish I bought more at $4.95 a couple of weeks ago. Okay, that's kind of like right around when I was buying it as well at that point. My average share price now is 5-something, 560, 570, I can't remember. I got too many numbers in my head, so I have to look back in my sheets and see what I got going on there. Drago says, patience on BMNR. Okay, Dragos do covered calls on BMNR as well. I mean, yeah, there's many ways to play this stuff here. I'm not going to tell you how you guys should do it. I'm just giving you guys my thoughts on things, right? I could be completely wrong on these guys, and they could, if Ethereum goes up 2x from where it's at right now, or 3x, whatever it might be, will they do well? I would imagine so. All right. DeFi says you can also lend Ethereum for more yield and time. Les has some secret where he can get more Ethereum without dilution, hoping he will reveal soon. You should look into it. Tom Lee, can't go wrong with him. I would think so too. I would think that'd be the case. But maybe I'm missing out on something there. I don't know. Like I said, I could be completely wrong on there. I'm not trying to dissuade you guys from it. That's obviously your guys' call there to do as you wish, as always. All right. I said, what other AI miner to buy? I would say, well, you already have Cipher. You got Iren and Cleanspark. Well, Cleanspark's not an AI miner just yet, but they're getting into it. Bitfarms has some potential there. You maybe buy a basket of these guys here, or buy just like the ETF for these guys, WGMI. That thing has been doing really good here recently as well. Okay. Where did it go? Okay, here it is. Freddie, in your opinion, what two miners are the safest? 2x from here, Iren and Cipher probably not, as they've just 2x and likely need to cool off. What about others? Okay, depending on Bitcoin, right? What Bitcoin does. I would think Bitcoin going up close to 2x. I would think Cleanspark would probably do 2x. I could be wrong on it, but I think that's still the case here with it, because the revenues are going to be going up tremendously here. They're also growing to 60 exahash. What's another one that could 2x? Hive's been doing pretty good, actually. Riot could possibly come out with something as well for HPCI. There's a bunch of these guys here. We're always like one good news story away from these things doubling in a matter of days. And I just don't know who that could be. Right? We know the ones that are like the best operators, Iren, Cleanspark, Cipher, are really good operators when it comes to Bitcoin mining, along with HPCI for Iren. So we're in those already as it is. Bitfarms is potential. Right, we'll see what happens to that one by the end of the year. Maybe next year they might have something. So we're in that one as well. You just never know. Hard for me to tell, but pick them out of a basket or something like that. Just put the names in there and pick them out. It's hard to tell. Let's see. All right, Gary. Why do you think Cleanspark management was so much slower than other miners to recognize HPC AI potential? I think it might be because of the sites that they have, right? Maybe those were not the best sites for HPCI. We don't know that. I'm just speculating here. Maybe that was the reason for it. They were building out more towards low-cost buildings to house Bitcoin miners, right? That could be part of it. They don't also have a huge portfolio of, well, they do have a lot of sites, but they don't have a single site that is like beyond 200 megawatts or something like that. Maybe that's part of it. Maybe they didn't have the expertise as well in-house to do it. There could be many number of reasons why they didn't get into it. It could have been just, they thought at a certain point Bitcoin mining is much more profitable, which they could be right. Bitcoin goes to 200,000 or something like that. It will probably be more profitable than HPCI. But again, how long will that last, though? That's a big question there. So there's a lot of what ifs. Hard to tell. But that's kind of what I would just kind of look at there. Let's see. DFly says, freak, I sold Cipher at 280 for Cleanspark. Okay, you're probably kicking yourself in the rear a little bit there. Freddie asks, can you add Galaxy to the list of stocks you analyze? I'm hearing it's super undervalued. Galaxy doesn't provide monthly production updates. We could take a look at them to see what's going on based on quarterly results or any updates they provide from press releases, things like that. Yes, we could probably look at them that way. They also have a bunch of different business segments. They have lending, right? They have staking. They do other things as well. So it's a little bit harder to see where they could possibly be at. But we can maybe try. Drago says Wolf is another one you could possibly get into. Yeah, Wolf. They get another deal with somebody else. The stock could, double again from here where it's at. What about BitDigital? It's at 262 right now. Okay, BitDigital has transitioned into a treasury company as well. So if Ethereum goes up 2x, that one should probably go up 2x as well. That's one way to look at it. They also own 80% of White Fiber there, which they spun out into its own entity, being listed on the NASDAQ as well. I don't know. And they were getting rid of the Bitcoin mining part of the business as well, I think. So we'll see. See, DeFi says, Regos, well, it was my decision, but Seb made a good case, I think, for Cleanspark. Yeah, I mean, I still think it's a good case for Cleanspark, but I also saw things that were changing, and sometimes you got to adapt, right? So, like I told you guys before, I sold Cleanspark and Iren at a certain point to buy Cipher. I sold Cleanspark to buy Iren at a certain point as well. But sometimes you just got to adjust, and I always tell you guys what I'm doing. Michael says, miners are not pumping this cycle. The companies are liquidating shareholders not just so they can buy more Bitcoin, just like MicroStrategy as well. Well, not all of them, right? Cleanspark here hasn't diluted since November of last year, so they're going on almost 12 months of no dilution here, while they've been able to fund operations and grow through their Bitcoin mining side of things. And then, yes, they did dilute to not only grow, but also hold Bitcoin last year. But a lot of companies did that. It's not an easy space to be in. Sauer says, miners aren't pumping. Several have pumped big. Well, the miners, I mean, the miners are doing better from the beginning of April, right, where we kind of bottomed out on these things. They're doing a little bit better. They seem to be outperforming Bitcoin here, at least currently. Larry says, Iren is the king. Hopefully, Bitfarms can become a contender. Bitfarms has a ways to go. I think the earliest they could possibly get a deal will be possibly Q1, Q2 of next year. They might surprise me. That's kind of just where I'm looking at for them right now. All right. Karan, Galaxy Hut 8, Bitfarms, Galaxy I don't track, so I don't know what they could be valued at. Hut 8, I think right now is pretty well valued, but if they get an HPCI deal, that could obviously go up higher from where it's at right now, at least 50% to 100% from where it's at. Bitfarms, same thing. Bitfarms gets an HPCI deal or something like that. You're looking at an easy 2 to 3x on that one potentially because it's so low already as it is. DFly says, Tom, Lee ETH bull case, if the infrastructure play happens for ETH, is 60,000. Maybe you should focus on ETH as well. I also recall Tom Lee being very, very bullish on Bitcoin not too long ago. Even last cycle, I think it was calling for much higher Bitcoin price at that point. Right? These guys, you got to take what they say with a little bit of grain of salt. They're there to pump things up, right? So he'll say that, but 60,000 from where it's at right now. Yeah, I don't know. For Ethereum, I don't know if it could do that. I mean, that's basically almost at 12x from here, right? It's a 4,000, something like that. Let's just say it's 5,000 in price right now. That'd be a 12x. What time frame are we looking at? Are we looking in next year? Probably not. In the next 10 years, we could probably get there. Be the same thing as Bitcoin getting to $1 million. So same kind of thing. All right. Raw DJ, what are your thoughts on American Bitcoin? They are going public tomorrow and announce their 8K. I had to look through those filings there. I got to get up to speed on that. My thought process on it is, you obviously have the Trump boys in there, right? Will they do everything that they can to pump that thing up as much as they can? Sure. My concern is, at least right now, is what is their cost going to be to mine Bitcoin? Because they're going to be using Hut 8's infrastructure and Hut 8's power, which then Hut 8 is going to pass along to them, plus probably a small percentage profit on that. Don't know what it's going to be. But at that end, they're going to be paying obviously more for it. And then how quickly and how easily can they generate or raise revenue, raise funds to further build out and grow to 50 exahash like they're planning to do, and even beyond that, and also become like one of the largest Bitcoin hodlers in there as well. I don't know. I'll have to look at the details of the stock offering there. Obviously, what that's going to entail, how many shares are going to be out there, who's getting what. We know that Hut 8 is going to own 80% of it there. So we'll see. Yeah, I don't know. Okay. Raw DJ says, American Bitcoin has accumulated approximately 2,433 Bitcoin in reserves and owned over 76,000 Bitcoin miners with a cumulative hash rate of approximately 24.2 exahash and weighted average fleet efficiency. Yeah, they do have a lot. A lot of it was obviously from Hut 8 that was transitioned over. We'll see. I don't know. I need to do some more research on that one to be sure. Download IBIT says, I think Cleanspark is the safest bet at this point. If Bitcoin goes up and Cleanspark comes up with HPCI, this thing skyrockets. That could very well be the case, right? Bitcoin goes up, they announce an HPCI, something like that. Even if it's 50, 100 megawatts or something like that, that's gonna be good revenue there as well. But at least it shows that they're into it. Let's see, Benny, let's say you wake up with 5,000 tomorrow. What are you buying? Right now, oh man, I would probably split that. I wouldn't buy something all in on one. I would probably buy Iren on the dip if it gets a dip, right? If it goes down a little bit, I would probably buy that. I would probably still buy Cipher at that point, and possibly Cleanspark, and maybe like Wolf, something like I mean, that's kind of where I would probably go. Bitfarms would be like on my towards the end there. Possibly if I have any cash left over, I'd probably buy some Bitfarms there just for see what they can do with their Pennsylvania site. Steven says, sell Cleanspark Mara, buy Cipher. Wolf was the best decision I made. Cleanspark will take a long time to build out for HPC, and Mara, Cleanspark have a bad rep by many people. Yeah, they've floundered on some things. I would agree with you there. But Cleanspark still has much better operations than Mara there. I think Cleanspark has a better potential. I do. But we'll see. All right, George, do you see any public miners that you cover merging? I think we already had the mergers that were going to happen. We saw, obviously, Cleanspark take over Grid. We saw Bitfarms buy out Stronghold. What else did we see there? There was another one. Well, we got American BTC and Griffin right now. I don't know. I mean, there's obviously the smaller miners like DMG, DigiPower, Solana still out there that are much smaller in market cap. Those things could be just absorbed by somebody that could just buy them out if they wanted to. So I'm not saying it's out of the question. I just don't know why they would do it right now when they could possibly build out for cheaper. DeFi. Seb, maybe transition into treasury or mining companies from miners. Tom, last 60,000 price of, yeah, talk about that in the next 5 years. Okay. So kind of like Bitcoin getting to $1 million in the next 5 years. Kind of, okay. I mean, yeah, I could see that possibly. Marcus Bruno, if the big boys want out long, they wouldn't drag it out like that. The dips are getting shallower and shallower, meaning the shorts are almost taken out. Okay, I would agree there. Gary's got a question. Was your decision to sell Cleanspark to buy Iren in 2024 your best move for performance this cycle? Right now, yeah, it has been. To be honest, yeah, it has been. That, I think, actually buying WGMI back in January of 2022 was the best decision I made, because that thing is up almost 100% for me from where I started. I'm going to have a nice retirement if this thing continues to go up the way it is. So that was probably the best decision there. Selling, I think, Bitfarms and buying Cleanspark and Iren, some more there. That was a good decision there as well at the time back in December and November of last year. Selling CORZ, right? I bought CORZ and I was up 100% on it, sold it, and I bought into, I think it was at that point, CORZ or Iren and Cleanspark at that time as well. So I've done these kind of trades where it made sense to me, and those have worked out so far, right? I was up huge on Cleanspark when I sold it. Not all of it, a portion of it. I think I sold, what was it, 20% of it at that point, and bought in Iren, right? Basically plowed in, I think at that point it was like 40,000 or 40,000, I think. And then I bought in more Iren into it. So, yeah, that's worked out really, really well for me. All right, Mr. X, a Bitcoin YouTuber today said there are 2 OG whales that are still unloading their BTC. He claims Bitcoin can take off when they finish. Have you heard anything on it? Well, we heard, when was it, last week? Was it last week or this weekend? It was last weekend. Somebody was obviously selling at that point. That's why Bitcoin went down. I mean, yeah, whenever you get those things, market goes down, obviously, because of the amount that they're selling. But it's been pretty resilient here. In the past, we would have been probably, falling 15% on the day. Excuse me, if that was the case. So I think the market is becoming more resilient, for Bitcoin at least. Sarah says American Bitcoin stock is going to get absolutely crushed. Watch. We'll see how that. Yeah, I mean, we'll see tomorrow. Abhilash, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name there. Companies like Bitfarms who want to transition to AI is taking at least 12 months to come up with infrastructure. How would Cleanspark come up with AI by year end? Maybe by late 2026 or 2027. Again, they have 33 sites, right? Could a couple of those sites be good for HPCI? Maybe. So they have those. And they could do it the same thing like Iren's doing. Buy GPUs, put them in, into those sites and get customers for them. It seems like Iren is at least getting customers when they plug them in. They're getting customers right at that point, access to it. So they could do it that way. And then, yeah, if you're building out a site, you're looking at probably now, I would say probably more than a year even. You got to get the site, you get the power, you got to get all the permits, you got to build out. You're looking probably, 18 months at the very least, I would think. All right. Jack asks, what percentage of miners are currently in your portfolio? Only Iren Cipher. Thanks for your work and time. You're very welcome, and thanks for coming in. What percentage of miners are in my portfolio? Okay, so if we take, so I have crypto and I have stocks, right? Stocks right now are pretty much Bitfarms, Iren, Cipher, and Cleanspark. That's it. That's everything in there right now in my stock portfolio. And then I got crypto, and then my retirement account is 99% WG. No, it's a little bit less than that. It's like 95%, maybe 90. I can't remember exactly what it's at, but like 90 to 95% WGMI, and like 5 to 9% BitQ, and the rest 1 to 2% is in mutual funds. I got 2 mutual funds that I had for a long time that have gone up nicely for me. Because all we had access to was the mutual funds at that point. But when we were able to get into ETFs, I plowed into the ETFs as fast as I could. And that has been one of the best decisions I've made. But yeah, most of this, everything's in basically Bitcoin miners. All right. Steve asks, if Cipher passes Cleanspark in share price, will you do an Indian dance for us, Sebastian? Indian dance? I don't want to offend any Native Americans at that point. Because I will probably butcher the heck out of it, and I don't want to disrespect them in any way that way. I could do maybe the Polish chicken dance. How does that go? I could probably do that, Polish chicken dance. I don't think I'm going to offend anybody there. Let's see. I read on Chris Cox. I read on X that Iren does depreciation at 3 years instead of 4 years. Like Cleanspark, putting Cleanspark and Iren very close on all-in cost, roughly $104,000 for Iren and $109,000 for Cleanspark. Yeah, so Iren does 4-year depreciation timetable, where Cleanspark does a 3-year. So yes, that is the case. All right, Chris Cox. Iren hired a lot of extra staff for HPCI in Q2, so raise their expenses will pay off with HPCI. I agree. Yeah, I'm fine with it, right? They're definitely going to be generating a heck of a lot more. Gary, let's see here. Gary says, Iren hired a lot of extra staff for HPCI. Yeah, so that one. All right. I already went over that one. Mr. X, haha. You're talking about the chicken dance? Yeah. How does it go? I can't remember. I have to listen to the song again. Polish chicken dance. Okay. But that's it. We're going on. Wow. We've actually gone over an hour and 25 minutes or something like that. We're going to call it a day because it's 11 o'clock here, my time. I got to get some rest, get some sleep. I got to go to work tomorrow as well, and then obviously do research on everything else here. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Greatly appreciate you, as always, coming in. Love you all. I hope you guys have a great Wednesday, hump day. And then we're going to be, we'll see who else reports tomorrow. We'll cover it all. We'll get into it all. But yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for coming in and chatting with me here. I'll see you guys. Bye.